Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the panel. Thank you for this opportunity to come and speak to you. I'm Marie Schubert. I am the elected district attorney of Sacramento County. I have been in office for a little bit over a year. Prior to becoming the elected DA, I was a deputy DA for upwards of 25 years. So today I bring to you not just as the co-chair of this initiative, but my 25 years of what I call living in the trenches of crime on the streets of Sacramento County. My background before becoming the DA was the majority of time spending in the area of forensic DNA evidence. I believe very strongly it is the greatest tool ever given to law enforcement to find the truth, no matter what that truth is. In 2002, I was fortunate enough to start our office's cold case homicide unit. And at that time, I went to all the local police departments and asked them, if there's any unsolved cases, which ones would you put at the top of the list? And unanimously, everybody from the Sacramento Police Department named one person, and that was a woman by the name of Eva Chu. In April of 1979, a couple days after Easter, Eva Chu happened to work for the state. She worked a few blocks from this building. She was 7 months pregnant. And she left at 3 o'clock on one day in April of 1979 to go to her 7-month checkup. She also happened to have a daughter that was 2 years old. She was abducted from the parking garage that was about 3 blocks from this building. She was taken to an area off of Interstate 80. She was raped, she was sodomized, she was strangled to death, and she and her unborn child, Kelly, were found a few days later. That case was solved for no other reason than by DNA. That case went to trial by another lawyer in our office, and the individual who had raped and killed her and her unborn child was given a verdict by a jury, which was that, given his background, which was he was in prison for another crime, horrific crime, the jury recommended the death penalty. And not long after that came Prop 34. And so I felt that based upon my experience with these types of cases, that I would become involved because we needed to fix the death penalty, not abolish it. So when Prop 34 came around in 2012, that's when I met Kermit Alexander, and I understood what happened to his family. But I also met the mother of an 8-year-old boy by the name of Michael Lyons. That case too affected me, perhaps because I too have an 8-year-old boy. But in 1996, Michael Lyons was walking home from his school in Yuba City when he was abducted by a serial sex offender by the name of Robert Rhodes. He was taken to a riverbed and he was brutally sodomized in Mr. Rhodes' pickup truck. And when he was apprehended, they found his footprints on the window, inside of the window, Michael's footprints of that pickup truck. He was brutally sodomized, raped for hours, his throat was slit, and he was left in the bottom of that riverbed. That case went to trial here in Sacramento as a change of venue, and a jury recommended the death penalty. But a few years later, after that death sentence came in, Mr. Rhodes was identified yet again with the murder now of an 18-year-old from Alameda County by the name of Julie Connell, who in 1984 had gone to a park in Hayward because she was a straight-A student who liked to study. She too was abducted, tortured, raped, and murdered by Robert Rhodes. Number of other crimes that Mr. Rhodes committed. That case also went to jury in Alameda County. And after hearing that evidence, within 1 hour, that jury came back and recommended the same sentence yet again for Mr. Rhodes. And so when we sit here and debate the very important policy of whether or not the death penalty is an appropriate option that a jury should consider, we cannot forget about the facts of crimes like Kermit Alexander's or Michael Lyons, because that is why we sit here today as proponents of this initiative. And I have said this once, and I will say it again and again. What is the point of seeking the death penalty in the state of California if it doesn't work? It is our obligation, and Prop 34 came out, and when we fought to keep it, we made a promise to the citizens of this state, which was, we will fix it. And we're here today to deliver on that promise, to put forth all the recommendations that have been made for the last 15 years by individuals like Joel Anderson or Senator Sharon Renner. 15 years of legislation to try to fix this system. And so now we're taking that to the voters of California. The facts and circumstances of these crimes are what needs to be at the forefront. The fact that there are over 1,000 victims of people from death row, 200 plus children, 40-something police officers, hundreds of women that have been sexually assaulted and tortured before their death. As the elected district attorney of Sacramento County, since January of 2015, when I came into office, our office has filed 157 murder cases. Just last week, I had my first conversation on a case on whether or not we should seek the death penalty. The first and only conversation. It involved the sexual assault, murder of a 6-year-old child in this community whose body was set on fire and dumped in another county. One case out of 157. It's a rare event. As you've heard many, many times today, it should always be a rare event. This initiative is designed to deliver on the promise, which is to fix it. So today I'm going to ask my colleagues, Mike Ramos, District Attorney of San Bernardino, and Kent Scheidegger, to talk to you about what this reform initiative does. 3 things: reform the housing and victim restitution, as you heard from the LAO, reform the oversight process and execution protocols, reform the appeals process. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today.